So there was one moment during the mid-October debate that was particularly memorable where Elizabeth Warren, she was talking about how she had the idea of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and Joe Biden became quite loud in response. Let me show you the clip.
So you started this question with how you got something done. You know, following the financial crash of 2008, I had an idea for a consumer agency that would keep giant banks from cheating people. And all of the Washington insiders and strategic geniuses said, don't even try, because you will never get it passed. And sure enough, the big banks fought us, the Republicans fought us, some of the Democrats fought us. But we got that agency passed into law. It has now forced big banks to return more than $12 billion directly to people they cheated. I served in the Obama administration. I know what we can do by executive authority, and I will use it. In Congress, on the first day, I will pass my anti-corruption bill, which will beat back the influence of money and repeal the filibuster. And the third, we want to get something done in America. We have to get out there and fight for the things that touch people's lives.
I agreed with, let me, she referenced me. Okay. I agreed with the great job she did. And I went on the floor and got you votes. I got votes for that bill. I convinced people to vote for it. So let's get those things straight, too.
Senator Warren, do you want to respond?
I am deeply grateful to President Obama, who fought so hard to make sure that agency was passed into law. And I am deeply grateful to every single person who fought for it and who helped pass it into law. But understand—
You did a hell of a job in your job.
Thank you. But understand this. It was a dream big, fight hard.
So there are two moments within that clip that are being highlighted as sexist on Joe Biden's part. Joe Biden is... people are stating of Joe Biden that he tried to take credit for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is the cornerstone of Elizabeth Warren's... a cornerstone achievement of Elizabeth Warren. So it's a man taking credit from a woman, which research does indicate that there is a tendency for women to not get credit for their ideas. And there's also anecdotal evidence regarding women having their ideas taken from men. And there are numerous explanations for this, right, that we could sort of dig into of why this happens. And really the key variable to why this happens would be gendered behavior, right? Women and men are cultivated to act particular ways. Women are cultivated in a manner where they tend to be more passive, less aggressive, and men are cultivated to be more aggressive and more argumentative and more, and have all these attributes that we associate with authority. Masculine attributes are associated with authority. And research also indicates that women, when they do try to take on some of those masculine attributes and become more assertive, that those women tend to not be liked. There's numerous ways we could go about talking about how to remedy the situation, and honestly, that's a whole nother discussion. But if I'm tempted to sort of just throw some ideas out there, and one of them being, employer-based, try to inform employers of these prejudices that exist so that they can actively try to combat them and allow for women to be heard for their ideas. So targeting the employer, but not just top down, but bottom up. So target the culture, target how women are to participate in the workplace. Encourage them to step up and be less passive and be more argumentative and more combative. And so basically trying to culturally normalize that behavior from women in the workplace. So that's just my 2 cents. Now, I know there's a lot of problems in the now. You can't exactly, if that were to happen overnight, those women would be highly disliked. But it's a matter of, cultural revolution involves trying to change cultural norms. In any event, So Joe Biden, he tries to take credit for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, but also the other item where he's being accused of sexism is his comment of where he makes that compliment where he states, "You did a hell of a job at your job." And Elizabeth Warren is sort of startled by this, as you could see in the clip, and then she just kind of says, "Thank you." People were upset about that, and I guess let me take on that first, the patronizing, quote unquote, patronizing remark of complimentary remark. Now, Joe Biden has sort of done a similar thing in the past, ironically, to Elizabeth Warren, and that was in 2005. Let me just show you this clip, and it relates to the bankruptcy bill. And Joe Biden at the time was a strong advocate of the bankruptcy bill, and Elizabeth Warren was at this hearing in opposition to the bankruptcy bill. And take a look.
Thank you very much. I will refrain from what I assure my friend from Texas will be an incredibly long fight over this amendment.
11 minutes later.
With fees and interest, I submit, Senator, that there are many in the credit industry right now who are getting their bankruptcies prepaid. That is, they have squeezed enough out of these families in interest and fees and payments that never
Maybe we should
paid
talk
down.
about usury rates then. Maybe that's what we should be
Senator,
talking about, not bankruptcy.
I'll be the first. Invite me.
No, I know you will, but let's call a spade a spade. Your problem with the credit card companies is usury rates from your position. It's not about the bankruptcy bill.
But, Senator, if you're not going to fix that problem, you can't take away the last shred of protection for these families.
Okay. You're very good, Professor.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Senator Biden.
So to me, my initial reaction to Joe Biden's words were that, yeah, that is patronizing. And that's just from a gut level. From a gut level, I thought that was patronizing. However, the very first clip that I led with from the debate, I'm sorry, but my gut reaction was not at all that was patronizing. Now, I know a lot of people will disregard my opinion because I'm a man and I've never experienced those things as a man. But at the same time, what about women? Take women's opinion in account. And there are a lot of women that were tweeting under these much publicized tweets that were calling this behavior sexist, saying that it wasn't sexist at all. So also take those women's opinions into account, that there are a lot of people saying, hey, I don't think that was sexist at all. He's complimenting her. He's saying you did a hell of a job at your job, and it was quite neutral. I don't understand the issue. Like, you did a hell of a job at your job. That's sexism. I don't know how to interpret that. Bernie Sanders goes about said about Hillary Clinton the whole campaign, she's a very good friend of mine. I like her a lot, saying all these compliments. Compliment, compliment, compliment. Why isn't that sexist? I'm a huge Sanders fan, and I think Warren is a hell of a lot better than Biden. Oh, shit, was I patronizing when I said that? No. See, and I'm being facetious, annoyingly facetious maybe, if you do believe it was sexism, but the thing is, what is he to say? Is he to just refrain from complimenting her? Compliments are off the table, no compliments. No, I don't understand it. Is there any context? Are compliments allowed? Can we compliment women anymore? I understand there are contexts where a compliment can sound patronizing. And in that second clip I showed, it is debatable that was patronizing. It could have been. There's more legs, or that argument has more teeth that the second clip was patronizing. But that first clip where he's just sort of neutrally stating, you did a hell of a job at your job, I don't see how that's sexist. Tell me how tell me whether genuine or disingenuous, how is a compliment to come out? How are we in our new perimeters on how a compliment is to be issued? How is that going to look? Please structure it for me so that way I understand how I am to issue a compliment without being sexist. Now, I think, obviously a compliment can be sexist in a certain context. And like I said, that second clip you could at least make a better case that that's sexist. And the reason I think you could make a better case is because they were on totally opposite sides of that debate, right? Joe Biden in the second clip I showed was arguing on behalf of the credit card lenders, and Elizabeth Warren was arguing on behalf of the borrowers, and that bankruptcy bill was disallowing people from declaring bankruptcy after being so far in debt from credit card companies' fees and interests. So very far apart on that issue. And then Joe Biden, just after being sort of owned by Elizabeth Warren in that back and forth, Joe Biden's just sort of like, just sort of makes that comment, that compliment, which obviously, maybe it was genuine, maybe it was just sort of in the sport of it, treating politics like a sport, like you're doing quite well, at that argument, but it did come off as disingenuous and patronizing. Was that because she's a woman? Because that's another layer. Was that remark specifically because she was a woman? Was that where the condescension was born from? I think it's a hard charge to make that comment is sexist. Now, you could easily make the charge that kind of behavior is mirrors sexist behavior. Okay, I can live with that. But as far as the first clip directly from the debate, I don't even see how that mirrors sexism. I don't get it. You did a hell of a job at your job. I don't freaking get it. So next time Bernie Sanders gives Elizabeth Warren a compliment, which it will come, it will happen, are we going to call it sexist? Or is the charge of sexism more related to Joe Biden having a more questionable record regarding women, right? Or at least having more of a record of being accused of sexism, whether it's his role in the Anita Hill hearing or his behavior in having very poor boundaries with women and sniffing women's hair a lot. And there are sort of montages of that available online. It's ridiculous. But so is it through this prism that we're looking at Joe Biden's comments and calling him sexist? So it could be person-based, okay? But I like to look at incidents as they are, right? Look at them as they are. And as they are, I see a guy complimenting a woman, Elizabeth Warren, who happens to be a woman, saying you did a hell of a job at your job. It is in the context of discussing her cornerstone achievement. If there's any context to issue a compliment, it would be that, whether he's being genuine or disingenuous. Now, as for the other item of alleged sexism, he is taking credit. But I'm going to reread what he said. And again, I don't like Joe Biden, but let me reread what he said. He said, I agree. She referenced to me. I agreed that the great job she did, and I went on the floor and got you votes. I got you votes for that bill. I convinced people to vote for it. Let's get those things straight too. Now, is this taking credit? If anything, it's sharing credit, saying I was involved in getting votes for that bill. Now, it's going way far to say Joe Biden is taking credit, right? Or to compare this to an office scenario where a man is getting the sole credit for an item and the woman is not getting credit for her idea. That is just not fair to make that kind of comparison. And I think to me it demonstrates a real hypersensitivity to even interpret it that way. Now, again, I don't like Joe Biden, but is this true? Is this true? Because a big part of people calling this sexist is that it's false, right? The man falsely getting credit for an idea that was the woman's. Now, was it false? Well, yes and no. The thing is, and The Intercept reported on it beautifully. They state how Joe Biden really had no role in advocating for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that Elizabeth Warren, that was her achievement. But Joe Biden was heavily involved in getting Dodd-Frank passed, which had contained within it the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Now, was Joe Biden's comment misleading? I mean, it could be interpreted as very misleading because when I heard his comment, what I heard was that he was arguing he had a role in getting the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau passed. Now, maybe that's how he wants you to read it. Maybe, I do think it's a bit of sleight of hand there. Absolutely. But at the same time, he is technically right. He got the bill that had the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or he helped get that bill passed. So he's correct. He is correct. He's correct on the substance of what he is saying. Now, is he being misleading? Sure. Is that sexist? He's correct that he helped get the bill through. I don't know what to tell you. He's not taking away credit. And this is ironic. He's not taking away credit from Elizabeth Warren. In fact, that's what the compliment was for. You did a hell of a job at your job. That's complimenting her at the job she did. That is not taking credit. That is sharing some credit for getting the bill through, which he did. There's a number of layers here, right? It's like, okay, he's being disingenuous that he didn't he didn't have any role in the consumer in advocating for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, but he did have a role in getting the bill that had that provision in it. He helped get that through. And then he also is not taking credit because he proceeds to compliment her on her role in her job at getting the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau in making that. So I'm confused how Twitter would explode in this way. And to me, it just reflects how poor, Twitter is not the way we should be. The intelligentsia of professors and media and academics and politicians. This is not the way we should be communicating, which requires instantaneous gut reaction. It requires that, and then it requires a character limit. I think if everyone had a day to sleep on it, maybe the reactions would be different. Maybe the charges of sexism, which is sort of the gut speaking, right? Maybe those charges would have been less, it wouldn't have been everywhere, right? But the fact that it was everywhere is also telling, and that is also reason to, it's also reason to, hopefully raises awareness that there is something happening in the workplace. Something is happening to thereby cause this sort of reaction when seeing Joe Biden trying to share credit, take credit, however you want to say it, of the cornerstone achievement of Elizabeth Warren, a woman. So it brought out this reaction, which the reaction is built out of those own individuals' experience of having ideas taken from them. So there is something to be said about that. And I would love to hear more writing and see more research on the subject. But for here, we are analyzing the sexism of Joe Biden in this clip. And I'm sorry, I don't like Joe Biden, but I don't see the sexism. Now, I want to hear the opinions of women. I really do. I want to hear what they had to say, because I know as a man, many people will just completely disregard my opinion right off the bat. And because, I'm a man, I've never had that womanly experience. Therefore, I'm unqualified to talk about it, as according to a lot of people. But I want to know how many women see at least some ring of truth in what I'm saying, or relate to what I'm saying at all. Hey guys, I hope you liked this video. Make sure, if you did, to click like down below and subscribe to this channel. And remember to click the bell. That way you'll get a notification whenever a new video is uploaded. Share this video with whoever you feel might find it valuable. And just remember, the more likes this video gets, the more views, and the more subscriptions, the more this channel can thrive and grow. Thank you.